Recording in
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing? How is everybody doing today? It has been a slow week. I think everyone is getting situated after the holiday, it seems like. So, what does anybody need? How was your long weekend? No, nothing. That's okay. It's totally fine. Yeah, I'm really feeling the last few days of yoga and running. So I was out jogging yesterday. We took everybody out. I was pushing the stroller, and then Harry was good weekend tired. Yeah. Harry was riding his bike, and Charlie was jogging, and he's a lot faster than I am. But so I'm running, and it's sort of like beautiful day in the park, and it's not quite sunset, but it's sort of that golden hour where everything looks really beautiful. And I'm trying to run faster than I normally do, which I was achieving, but I normally run very slowly. And I look over and I see my shadow, and I'm like, why is my shadow going in slow motion? It wasn't. It was going in my speed, which is very slow. Anyway, it was really interesting moment of like self-awareness, and I don't know, just I needed to find some acceptance. So I've been working on that, because we got back and Charlie was like, but we went so much faster than we normally do. And I was like, yeah, but we only ran 1 mile instead of 2 miles. And I was trying really hard And I was like, but this is good. Like it's good to be honest with yourself about what's actually happening with your abilities and your body. And so that's how I came away from it, was like, it's good for me to know that I am going just as slowly as I thought I was, and maybe a little bit slower. Anyway, so I'm feeling that in my body. And I'm feeling really grateful that um that like I have an opportunity to do better, right? To like keep trying. So I don't know if you guys can relate to that at all today, but join in that point of view if you can. Does anybody have anything that they want to work on today other than maybe finding some energy?
There's some shoulder stretching.
Yeah, fronts of the shoulders over there.
Yeah, I did a slight injury climbing, so it's like I think I should stretch it like a little bit anyway.
Okay, yeah, we can try that. Anything else for anyone? Okay, if you have anything, feel free to shout it out or pop it in the chat box. Let's start in a comfortable seat if your butt is not so sore that a comfortable seat is impossible. So whatever you got going on today. And then let's find a little bit of movement. So let's see if you can see this. So we're gonna start to move over to the side and then forward, over to the other side, just finding some movement and noticing areas where you have a lot of mobility and areas where you maybe have a little bit less. We'll go in both directions just a few times. And then we'll do some seated cat-cows. Really tucking the chin and stretching through the back. And then engaging the back and lifting the great gaze. We'll come back to center. You ready? Notice if you feel like you're leaning forward or back or side to side. Try to get as straight as you can. You're welcome to use your screen for feedback if that's helpful. And then start to notice how the breath feels moving in and out through the nose. Keep bringing your focus back to your breath. Now just notice if there are specific thoughts that kept coming back to you, kept sort of breaking up your focus. And just be aware of them as we move forward through the practice. Try to set them aside if they're not something that you need to keep. Now let's bring right hand out to the right side. Left arm is going to reach up and over. Looking for a side stretch through the left side of the torso. So your elbow might come down to the ground or it might not, just wherever you need to be to feel that stretch. Now back up to center. And then over, left hand down, maybe left elbow too. Stretching through the right side body. Keep pressing the right hip down. Back up to center. And then leaning back, feet can come forward. Let's start with heels down for our boat pose. Start to find your alignment there. Now let's cross the hands over the chest. Let's just start to find some really little pulses, lifting and lowering just a tiny bit. And then lifting all the way up. We're going to reach the arms out, lower down halfway. Lift back up, arms overhead. Lower down on your inhale. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Let's do 3 more. And then cross the arms the other way. That's the same way. There we go. And we'll come back and find those really little pulses again. Let's do 1 more. And then reach the arms out. Let's lower down nice and slow. All right, let's bring knees into the chest. Gently rock from side to side. So if the knees are more over the hips, you'll feel this more in the glutes and the low back as a massage. If the knees are closer into the chest, you'll feel it in like the mid to low back, probably. Let's keep the left knee where it is. Reach your right hand to the right insole and find your happy baby, half happy baby. Maybe the right knee is reaching down for the ground. Maybe the right leg is stretching out to the side, like a straight leg. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, you can try lowering your left foot down to the ground and see if that makes a difference for you. Always coming back to your focus on your breath. Let's release. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Pull the left knee in for a stretch in the outer hip and glute. Let's release, keeping the ankle where it is on the knee, but bring the left foot down. And then both knees are going to come over to the right side. So this you might feel in the left side of the low back, left outer hip, or front of the hip. Maybe even into the quad. Come back to center. Bring the right knee into the chest. And then the left knee also. We're going to reach for the left insole or big toe or whatever you can reach and find your half happy baby. Left knee reaching towards the ground. Or left leg extending out to the left side. Let's bring the left leg back across over the right knee and then pulling the right knee in towards the chest. Find your stretch. Outer left hip and into the glute. If you're feeling this on the left inner thigh, that's okay too. Might be a sign that your abductors are excessively tight, but that's why you're here. Let's take one more breath. And then release. Right foot down to the ground. Both knees over to the left to find that stretch. Right low back, outer hip, front of the hip, into the quad. Any of those. Come back to center. We're going to bring the heels wide, so maybe as wide as your mat, or even wider if your legs will go wider. Maybe if you have longer legs, that's easier. And then pressing into the heels, we're going to lift the hips up, keep the low back long. So we're going to keep pressing the tailbone towards that space in between the knees. So for some people, lifting up all the way is going to come all the way into the low back as your main engagement. So if that's you, lower down a little bit more and lengthen the tailbone a little bit more and see if you can really just get into the glutes. Now from here, we're going to start to press the heels towards the top of the mat. And then on your inhale, you can pull the heels back. So pulling the heels back, you should feel it in the hamstrings and the glutes. Exhale to push the heels forward, feeling this more in the quads. We'll go back and forth a few times. It's totally fine if you reverse your breath here too. Let's do one more round. And then slowly lowering the hips down. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. You can keep some engagement in the legs. If dropping the knees down is uncomfortable, it's okay to keep the knees a little bit more lifted. And then from here, press the feet into each other. Start to lift the hips. Reach the arms straight up, press the palms. So hands and feet are pressing into each other. Feeling engagement in the glutes and the hips, and the hamstrings, the arms and the shoulders. Slowly release down. Straighten the legs out. Arms alongside the ears. And then as you're ready, and in any way that you want, we're going to roll up to a seat or push up to a seat. Let's get nice and tall here. And notice if you can't get tall. If you're leaning back a little bit, it's okay. Just be aware of that, that the back of the body is so tight that you can't come into that 90 degree. With a little bend in the knees, send the tailbone back and start to hinge forward. Let's keep the chest lifted and open, gaze forward just for the first few breaths. And then you can start to drop your head down, let everything round. Notice that that might change the stretch a whole lot. Moving it into your back a little bit more, maybe into the neck and the shoulders a little bit more. Inhale to lift up. We're going to cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees, and then step back to plank. We're going to try a different kind of plank today. It's called a blast off. That's what it's called. So from your regular plank, you're going to push back, bend your knees, and then push back forward on the inhale. Exhale, press back. Inhale, come forward. Let's do 8 more. Really squeezing the glutes to propel you forward. Using the quads as you come forward. Feeling shoulders, core, arms. Let's do 2 more. I lost count, but I think that's about right. And then pressing back to your down dog. In your down dog, take any movements that feel good. On your next inhale, bring the weight into your left leg. We'll lift the right leg high. And then exhale, step the right foot forward in between your hands. We're going to drop the left knee down. You can keep your hands down on the ground or lift them up, looking for a stretch in the front of the left hip and into the quad. On your exhale, hands come down. Inhale, extend back to your 3-legged dog. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, slow lower down. Inhale to cobra or baby cobra. Drag the chest forward, and then exhale to lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale to lift. Take a breath at the top, wherever that top is. Drag the chest forward, and then on your next exhale, release down. 1 more time. Lifting up. Take a moment to feel into your pose. Get this into the back as high as you can, and then exhale to release down. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, press up to plank. Exhale back to down dog. Bring the weight into the right leg, lift the left on your inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward in between the hands, right knee down. Hands can go wherever you like. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, extend back, 3-legged dog, left leg lifted. And then back down to down dog. Let's take a deep breath in. On your exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, find your half lift. So in your half lift, get straight through the spine. Lengthen the tailbone back, crown of the head forward, keep the belly engaged. We'll bring hands to heart. On your exhale, lower down as much as you can while still keeping that flat back. And then inhale, press into your heels, squeeze your glutes and hamstrings, lift all the way up to standing. Arms reach up, palms keep pressing. Micro back bend just in the upper back. Exhale, hinge forward, hands come apart. Inhale, lift up halfway. Find that length and engagement. Hands to heart, exhale, lower down as far as you can without changing the spine. Press into the heels, inhale, squeeze the glutes and hamstrings as you lift. Arms reach up, micro back bend. Hands come apart as you exhale and fold forward. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to heart, hinge forward a little bit more, keep the back straight. Squeeze the glutes, hamstrings, lift all the way up. Micro back bend, and then exhale, hinge forward. Step the feet back, find your high plank. Let's take a few breaths here, maybe shifting the weight from one hand to the other. And then coming back to center, let's lower down slowly all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes, let's lift to baby cobra. Clasp your hands at your low back. Press the knuckles towards the heels, stretch through the fronts of the shoulders. Maybe lifting the hands away from the hips. Exhale, release down, release your hands. Bring your hands to the outer edges of your hips, palms facing down. Chin or cheek to the mat on your inhale. Lift your right leg, just high enough that you feel your glute engage. Don't go so high that you feel your low back working. Exhale to release. Inhale to lift the left leg. Same thing, just find the gluteal engagement. Gently release down. On your next breath, lift both legs. Keep the pubic bone pressing down so that this is really coming into the glutes. And then press into your hands, lift your head, lift your chest. Exhale to release. Inhale, press up to plank. Exhale, press back to down dog. You can take as much of a bend in your knees in down dog as you like, whatever feels good here. Let's lift the heels high a few times. Stretching through the feet and the toes. And then release the heels back down to wherever they come. On your inhale, lift the right leg high. I'm going to take a few breaths here. Exhale to step the right foot forward in between your hands. Make sure that your feet are hip width distance and then lift up high. So we don't want to be on a tightrope here. It'll make it really hard to find our balance. From your high lunge, let's reach the arms out to the sides. And then exhale, right arm comes under the left arm. Wrap them around, press the elbows down and forward towards your right knee. Inhale to release the arms, reach them up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll straighten the right leg, turn the hips to the left. come down to warrior two. Now in your warrior two, imagine that you're trying to get your right thigh, top of your thigh, a little further away from the hip crease, like from the hip bone. So really pressing into the right heel, tilting the tailbone a little bit towards the right heel and feeling the right glute engaging a little more. And then little bend in the left knee, press into the left heel as well, arms reach up. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. We're going to straighten the right leg. Turn the toes towards like 45 degrees, towards the left front edge of your mat. And then we're going to bend into the left knee, coming back to a side lunge. Arms can come anywhere you like. You want to keep the hips reaching back. Hands down to the ground. We're going to creep back forward. Turn the toes to the top of the mat. Plant the left hand. Reach the right arm up. As you do this, pull the right hip back like you're trying to touch it to the left heel. Maybe look up towards the right fingertips. Let's reach the right hand down to the ground. Bring the left heel down, setting up for warrior one. So again, make sure the feet aren't on a tightrope before you lift up. Okay. In this position, we're going to clasp the hands behind the head, and then we're going to shift the torso forward about 45 degrees. On your exhale, left elbow reaches for the right knee. Inhale back to center. Let's take 4 more. Back to center, lift all the way up. Reach the palms up, press the palms together. As you're doing this, front low ribs are tucking in, tailbone is lengthening down. Find a stretch in the front of the left hip and a deep stretch. Wait, deep engagement in the glute on the left side. On your exhale, clasp your hands at your low back. Shift forward. Make sure you're still pressing into both feet, and then lift your hands away from your low back. You can let your head drop down and your neck relax. You want to make sure that if your arms are pretty straight, they're not locked out. They're not hyperextended. So maybe bring a little bend. Let's release the hands down. Step back to plank. Let's take another round of those blast off push-ups. So on your exhale, let's press back, and then inhale, come forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slow lower down from your plank. Untuck your toes. We're going to reach the arms out to the sides and cactus both arms. Turn your head to the left. Press your left hand next to your left side of your chest. Start to roll back, finding a stretch in the front of the right shoulder. Come back to center. Same thing on the other side, left arm out. Press into the right hand, find your twist. Come back to center. Forehead to the mat, hands come under the shoulders. Let's squeeze the elbows towards each other behind the back, and then start to lift the head, lift the chest. Press into the tops of the feet, drag the chest forward. Exhale, release down, tuck the toes, inhale, press up to plank. Press back to down dog. On your next inhale, left leg lifts. We'll hold for a few breaths in three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot forward in between your hands. Set up your feet in a nice stable position and then lift up when you're ready. High lunge. Find your placement. Make sure the low back is long. And then inhale, arms come out wide. On your exhale, we'll bring left arm under right. Wrap the arms around. Press the elbows forward and down. Or if you want to try something different this time, lift the elbows up. Press the hands away from the face. On your next inhale, release your hands, reach them up. We'll straighten the left leg, turn the hips, find your warrior two. So again here, find that little adjustment of tailbone reaching towards the left heel, creating a little more space in this left hip crease. And then floating the arms up. Little bend in the right knee, press into the right heel, feel the engagement in the glutes on both sides. On your next breath, straighten the left leg. We're going to turn the toes towards the front right corner of the mat. And then bend into the right knee. Press the hips back. Arms can come anywhere you want for your side lunge, but the hips are pressing back. On your exhale, both hands down. We'll turn towards the top of the mat. Toes turn forward for a low lunge. Plant your right hand. Reach the left arm up. Pull the left hip back. Lift the right hip. Maybe look up towards your fingertips. On your exhale, left hand down. We're going to spin the right heel down, make sure the feet are wide enough to give you a nice support, and then lift up. All right, this is the glute killer here, for me at least. I want to put that on you. We're going to clasp our hands behind our heads. On your exhale, hinge forward to 45. Really press into both heels. And then on your exhale, find your twist. Inhale to center, 4 more. Back to center, lift all the way up. That wasn't so bad. We'll reach the arms up. As you do, front low ribs tuck in, glutes on both sides are engaged, belly is strong. And then palms press, really feeling arms and shoulders working here. Let's release the hands to the low back, clasp them the opposite way that you did before, and then hinging forward, drop the head down, press into both feet, lift the hands, maybe keeping a little bend in the elbows. On your exhale, both hands down, step back. Let's find plank. Any variation here for 10 breaths, you can take your blast offs, your side to sides, front and backs, or just stay where you are. On your next exhale, you can lower down nice and slow. Let's lift up to Sphinx pose. Forearms come down to the mat. If this is uncomfortable, if it feels like pinching in the low back, arms can come further forward so that you're at less of an angle. Drag the chest forward wherever you are. See if you can find some traction in the low and maybe the mid back. On your exhale, release down. One more time, lifting to your baby, full or mid cobra. Get that engagement in the upper back. It'll be in the mid and lower back as well, and the glutes, and the arms and shoulders. We'll release down, press back to child's pose. Let's take some deep breaths here in child's pose. Option to bring the elbows down, palms together, thumbs at the upper back. If you have blocks nearby, you can bring a block under each elbow. Or a stack of books would work, or a table or a chair. Let's release. And we're going to come up to a seat. All right. So let's get into the neck and shoulders a little bit. Hands can come out to the sides. We're going to turn the head all the way to the right and then pull the left shoulder back a little bit more. Drop the chin towards the right collarbone. Maybe drop the right ear down towards the shoulder just a bit until you find that stretch in the left side of your neck. Come back to center. We'll switch sides, turn the head to the left, pull the right shoulder back, drop the chin towards the collarbone, ear towards the shoulder just a bit. Back to center, drop the chin to the chest. Hands can come to your knees or thighs. On your next inhale, you can lift up. We're going to take one more stretch. We're going to come into a half, like a half plow. It'll really be a full plow maybe for most of us. But because we don't have anything under the shoulders, we want to make sure that the hips are staying back behind the shoulders. So the hips are not going to come right over the shoulders. So whenever you're ready, you're going to start to lift your hips up. You're going to bring them into your hands. Drop your toes down. Knees can stay bent here. Your hips can stay pretty low too if you want. We're looking for a stretch all through the back of the body. Take about 10 breaths here, but if that's too much for you or not enough, you just take however much you need. Your head should be able to move easily. Not that we're moving it a whole lot, but it shouldn't have any pressure in it. We'll release down. Legs can come down to the ground. And then we're going to bring one hand over the heart, one hand over the belly. Bring your focus back to your breath, noticing the inhale and the exhale, noticing if there are any habitual thoughts that are breaking through, just noticing them. When you're ready, you can release your arms out to your sides. Let them find a comfortable position. Make sure your feet and ankles are relaxed, neck and shoulders are relaxed. If this is uncomfortable in the low back, knees can bend and rest against each other. After you finish focusing on your body relaxing, you can bring your focus back to your breath. Start to bring some gentle movement into your fingers and toes, hands, feet, wrists, and ankles. Find a nice long full body stretch. And then when you're ready, you can come up to a seat. Bring hands to heart. Deep breath in. Full exhale out. Om Shanti. Yes, Stitchy was done. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Amanda.
Rest
Thanks so
of your day.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.